I have never done this before. I need to get out of this town, and I have 2 hours of driving until my next home. And I'm crossing my fingers that this goes really smooth. You ready, Akila? Let's do this. Am I going? Yep. 20 minutes away, and the man said that I should see him on an orange tractor, and that the land where he's planning on leading me to is closer to like a different part of the road, I think. I don't really know. I'm just hoping that the orange tractor will be obvious enough for me to know where I'm going.
We've had a butt ton of rain
Okay.
the last couple of days, so there's the roads back are washed.
Okay.
So I'm going to show you the spot that I was thinking will work for you, and I'll go ahead and lead you in.
Okay.
This is the deep wood. This is the part
Cool.
that I like. I love it up here.
Uh-huh. This is so cool. All right, he is leading me in. He said that this is like the deep woods part of his property. There's been a lot of rain lately, so the roads to get to the marsh are washed out, which I'm okay with. So the owner of the property, his name is Ted, and he just brought me to this little place in the depth of his woods. I need to reposition. My car's just been running while we've been chatting, so I'm just gonna reposition. It's a little soft behind me, which makes me a little nervous, but I think I should be all right. Kind of in the middle, but I don't really mind. I'm feeling as though I've just found the perfect spot. This is exactly what I need. And I don't know why I was drawn to this island or this marsh or this particular area, but it feels like this is exactly where I need to be. Do you want some dinner? I just finished up some computer work, and it is about 7:15. So it's about to get dark here. There is almost no service, which I love. I figured before it got too dark, Akila and I would go and explore a little bit. It's just so beautiful. These are called lizard tails, and it means that there's water. So apparently the path that I'm on right now, 20 minutes on this path will bring us to the water. I'm really excited to check that out in the morning. There is so much wildlife, and this feels like truly open space that I've been craving, which means I want to go to bed early because this is the kind of place that I want to wake up early in, and I already have a really good idea for tomorrow night. Also, Akila is just loving this. are you waiting for your breakfast? It is the most beautiful morning, and this coffee is perfect. So something that happens a lot on the road, or even just if you travel often, is that when you wake up, there is a solid amount of time that goes by until you realize where you are. This morning I woke up and it was a solid 30 seconds before I was like, oh, I'm on a random island in South Carolina. I think of it similar to cheap gas station coffee. Like, cheap gas station coffee in itself isn't necessarily something that everybody loves, but it's a special little thing that happens in this lifestyle because I'm on the road all the time. And so that feeling in the morning of, oh gosh, waking up and being like, wait, where in the country am I? And it's such an odd feeling, and I love it. It's just become like a comfort piece now in life. I'm just now realizing that I haven't filled you guys in on where I am and why a stranger led me to the middle of his forest. But before I get into that, I do want to go and pick some blackberries for breakfast. So I'm gonna do that first. When I was a little girl, my family and I would camp in northern Wisconsin on our little piece of land, the same land that Chris and I spent the winter on. I would always feel so excited when the blackberries were ripe. We'd hike around and eat blackberries. Look at these beautiful berries. Oh no, I did get bit by an ant though. I stepped in its nest. Surprised I only got one bite. They were pissed. Where am I? How the hell did I find this place? I was a bit at a loss out here on the East Coast. There's very little public land out here, and that's what I'm used to utilizing, is public land. When I was looking for a campground, there was one spot available, and it was a rustic tent site, which means that you park, you hike in with your tent, and you sleep in your tent. And it was $65 a night. And I thought, man, that is so not worth it. It also feels very unavailable to people that are low income. Anyway, so for the very first time ever, for the first time while living in the van and all the travel before living in the van, I used Hipcamp. And I've heard of them before. I thought that it was more of like wineries and stuff. I don't know. And so this is privately owned by Ted. You basically just pay, it's like Airbnb but for land. And I would much rather pay for space like this. I have nobody around me. I don't have any amenities, but I don't need them. So I'm paying for just land and access to water and a place to be in deep nature. And I'd much rather pay for that than a campsite that is surrounded by other people with pit toilets and water fill, because I don't need those things. And it's amazing. And I can imagine that some of you are like, Linnea, it's a little weird. I get it. But I also trust my intuition. And I feel really good about this spot, and I feel really good about Ted. And if I didn't, I would leave. Not to mention all these wild blackberries. My goal is to get like 4 hours of editing in today before Akila and I head down to the marsh for the evening. But I am going to just spend about a half hour reading my book. I am almost done with Mother of God by Paul Rosley, and it is just like one of the best books I've ever read. If you haven't read it, and you want to learn about the Amazon, or just be inspired to do amazing things in life, read this book. This Oh my gosh, this smells like the Northwoods. When I did my few days bushcrafting in negative temps, that was the last time I used this bag. I am going to let this air out while I pack. Two-man. I leave this one here so I can stay. And just like that, we have everything on our backs. Let's go find this marsh or waterfront or whatever I'm hiking to. I just messaged the camp host because as I was walking in here and getting closer to this marsh, which is beautiful, I realized that this feels like a place that gators would live, and I'm pretty unfamiliar with this part of the country, so I did message him and I was like, hey, it might be silly, but Akil and I are hanging out by the water for the evening. Like, do we have to worry about gators? So your life is not normal. I've heard this sentence a few times recently, and while I generally stand tall in confidence and knowing of who I am and the life that I'm building, this one made me buckle a bit. And the only reason I'm sharing this is because I know many of you have heard versions of this too. My DMs are full of questions like, how do you explain a perspective to somebody that has only ever lived a traditional life? Or, my friends think I've gone crazy after selling the big house. Or, I am just so unhappy. How do you shift your life and still receive support? Truthfully, I don't really have these answers, but I can share some of the thoughts that have helped me in similar situations. Normality is subjective, or based on one's reality. And it's true that in many people's worlds, my life is not normal. But it's also true that there is a huge community of people living a bit differently, or challenging the fingers that point and say that's not normal. I have found that these people all have different stories, they all face various challenges, and they all have unique motivations for a change in lifestyle. And as that community continues to grow and connect with each other, there is a new normal forming. I think it's only when we compare each other's normal that the divide is created. So if we allow it, and if we embrace it, there can be space for each of our unique ideas to bloom into a lifestyle that suits us best, as the individuals we are. And that means embracing and celebrating everybody's meaning of normal. The traditional homes, the 9-to-5s, the stay-at-home moms, the dirtbag van lifers, the families traveling in buses, and the hikers living out of their packs. There's room for all of it. In my personal opinion, the best response that we can have is to fight through the chaos, experience the judgment, and ultimately learn through the process of building a life of your own. And they can watch us as we settle into it. I almost went back to the van tonight. I got here, It's not that far from the van. And I just didn't want to go through the work of setting up my tent and breaking everything down tomorrow. And I just stood there and I was like, oh man, I kind of just want to go be home. And I am so glad that I didn't do that, because this is one of the most amazing camp spots, the most beautiful sunsets in a very unique area for me. I am definitely waking up for sunrise. I just put the rain fly on the tent because Akila was a little on edge being able to see and hear everything as well, so she's a little bit more cozied in now that it's darker in here with the rain fly. It's still early. I think it's just after 8 o'clock, but I'm hoping to finish my book and then go to bed so Akila and I can have an early morning. Enjoy the sunrise here. Right, girl? Good morning. Sleepy girl. Good morning. Yeah. Hey, you gotta wait. Akila. Okay. I stayed up last night and finished my book. And now my book's over. It was an absolutely fantastic read. I think this is the 3rd time I'm mentioning it here in my YouTube videos. I could hardly sleep after it just because I was so emotionally charged. There's a huge spider between these 2 trees. And I would love and so appreciate if you would put your favorite book down in the comments below, because my list is getting shorter. I'd love to add to it. And then we can all have a huge list of really great book recommendations. The sun is slowly creeping up over the land opposite this marsh. And I have started another book. I thought I would share it. It's called The Salt Path, a memoir by Raynor Wynn. And it is fantastic so far. Something that I'm always reminded of when I get to places like this is how much time we have. I mentioned this a few years ago in depth when I spent 4 days in the woods by myself without any electronics. But here I have very little service. I barely have one bar. I haven't been able to really do anything on my phone, which is fantastic. What do you think? What do you think, huh? And so even just this morning alone, being able to sit and read, and it is only 7:30 because I have so much time without the distraction of my phone or my computer or whatever. It makes me want to reclaim the time in my life that I waste away kind of unconsciously. And it's just always a beautiful reminder. I know you want to go back to the van, but I'm going to read a little bit. It's really early. Okay. I know, we got to get off there. Come on, I got to pack up. All right, let's go home. She is so ready to go back to the van. Akila and I got back to the van. She is all settled in and getting my bed a little muddier than I would like, but that's okay. I just packed away all of my gear. I had some of my other packs in like my house part of the van. I had my Camelback out and my day pack from past adventures, so I went through those as well. And I'm currently heating up water because I'm going to take advantage of the space that I have and the sun that's now out. I'm gonna shower. I haven't just like showered naked without my shower tent in I think over a year now. So I'm really soaking this in. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed my shower. I really took my time. I love it when I get to do that. And now Akila and I are leaving this beautiful marsh to head to Charleston, South Carolina. I've never been there before, but I'm really excited to check out the little town, and I do have a lot of errands and city stuff to do while I'm in there. And to make sure I have enough time to do absolutely everything that I need to get done, I'm gonna head out right now. I hope that you enjoyed this time in the marsh as much as Akila and I did. And we will see you next week. He's running in thong sandals. That's a new one. What a cool looking dog. Nope. I don't actually know where I'm going. This little pup. Oh, he scared me. Did that scare you too? Oh! Akila, no! Oh, I just ran through an entire spider web. Akila, get out of my supper. I'm definitely waking up for sunset. I mean, wow. That damn rooster is so funny.
When we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side, our fears are done. All the good times just begun.